Even in times of a pandemic, the geek industry really has no end. It's got no inactive. It's got some inactivity, but it doesn't mean it stops for good. What is up, people of the internet? It's your boys again from Culture Pit. This is the After Dark episode 5. After Dark podcast episode 5, right? So yeah, thank you for lasting with us this long. So it's Paolo, Seb, Bon, and Gab again. And yeah, so it's our usual shenanigans, and we're not going to be talking about wrestling for this one. So if you guys, unlike our previous episodes where we would mix a lot of things together, so we just want to take this time to announce the launch of our newest podcast, the Buckle Bomb podcast. Episode 1 should be up by now. So yeah, just make sure to click the link below. We'll be posting it. And yeah, how's everyone doing?
I'm good.
Sure, yeah. Fine.
Same, I'm good too. I don't know if I'm getting fatter, but other than that, I'm good.
You know,
Same.
it's quarantine.
I'm definitely getting fatter. Definitely.
It's okay. It's alright.
Getting
You guys.
sadder. Just progressively sadder
man.
every day.
I'm getting sadder. Yeah, sadder is
Whoops.
the same. But speaking of sad things, actually, we just want to take this time to basically just remember an amazing human being who was of great influence to the geek community. He was a host of Mythbusters, and he was a well-renowned engineer who worked on a lot of things, notably Star Wars. So we just hope all his friends and family are okay in their time of loss. So Grant Imahara, rest in peace. Thank you for everything. Also, just want to add, he was actually a frequent guest in one of my favorite series, Tabletop with Will Wheaton. So I'm gonna miss seeing him. And yeah, so thank you for everything, Grant. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about things that are upcoming. Seb, you heard about the Bad Batch series coming up in 2021, right?
Yeah, man, I was one of the first ones. I think I was the first one from all of us who got to hear about it. This was like a couple of minutes after we had a COD session.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I went nuts. Definitely one of my favorite things about that last Clone Wars season. Really hated that there was no resolution with that, but like now that we're getting the show,
Same.
we can have that closure we need so much.
Let's talk about the Bad Batch like as we know them for a bit. And like, of course, if you haven't watched the latest season of Clone Wars, we recommend skipping over to the next topic because there will be spoilers. But yeah, just for me, I know there was a lot of people who were not so keen on the Bad Batch, which I kind of get. Like, I know they came there. I know they tuned in to the final season of Clone Wars for something else, but personally, I loved them. The Bad Batch was actually my favorite part of the last season. So yeah, just to recap, there's 4 elite members of this Bad Batch or Clone Force 99. I forgot what they were actually called.
99!
99. Yeah, so we got Hunter, we got Crosshairs, we got Tech, and we have Wrecker, Seb's favorite boy, Wrecker. So what we basically know about them is they're this A-team, elite, non-conventional-esque squadron group that kind of just gets the job done by any means necessary, which is amazing because that's a contrast to what the clones actually are. They also get the job done, whatever it takes, but these guys are a little different. So it's actually, it's fun. It's fun, and I would, I was looking forward to seeing more of them, but sadly that didn't happen.
Whoops. Well, we're gonna get to see them more. A whole series of it.
Like the thing is, like, with people who aren't keen on them, I don't really understand why. I respect I respectfully give these people the right to be wrong. I'm just kidding. We respect your opinion.
We respect your opinions.
So good.
There is no such thing as a best opinion.
Star Wars, especially now, is incredibly divisive, and the last season of Clone Wars proves that things will not change for the foreseeable future in terms of people not being down for Star Wars related things. But I like these guys that don't fit the mold of the Boy Scout types. And I like how they get their business done, and I like their outlook on other clones, because clones are nerds. They're all nerds. And they let these clones know you're all fucking nerds. You're all rule following nerds. Which is maybe why a lot of people didn't like them, because Star Wars people are nerds. They're all nerds. Or geeks, whatever you want to call this race of people that watch Star Wars. But yeah, these guys were. I think Star Wars. I think the problem with Star Wars recently, besides everything, is the fact that Disney seems to really want to make their mark on the franchise. So they're introducing things where they might not need to. Like, there could be arguments made that you didn't need to introduce the Bad Batch, but there were other things that were a bigger problem with the last season than that. Sure, the narrative might have been like a bit more streamlined had we not introduced newer characters, but like, it's Star Wars, man. They need reasons to make more action figures. So
true.
That's true.
Of course, they're gonna give us more characters, man. And of course,
I'm definitely getting a Honda figure when it comes out.
They gotta give us characters with cool character designs, because that's pretty much a lot of what Star Wars is about. Like, we have an entire legion of Boba Fett fans on the sole basis that he had like a cool T-visor helmet. Like, let's be completely real here. Like, he's never done anything, but he has a huge fan base. He has so many fans on the basis of absolutely nothing. Well, yeah, we have an entire legion of Star Wars fans who are like big fans of Boba Fett, and I can guarantee you it's because of that character design, and not because of anything he did, at least in the movies, because he didn't do much in the movies. But with these guys, you got to see a little bit of their badassery, and it's nice that we're getting a show based solely on them, but I can't get it out of my head that maybe their appearance in Clone Wars is like a glorified commercial for the show.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe this was planned, like, all along. Maybe leave people wanting more. I definitely want more. I definitely want to see more of what they have in store. I also forgot to mention Echo. If you guys are familiar with if you guys follow the story of the clones during the whole Clone Wars, we had this clone Echo who was who was thought to be dead, but turns out in the final season was actually just captured, and is rescued by Rex and the Bad Batch and Anakin. So Echo is actually, there was a story arc that they have, and so there's a story arc that they have with Echo where they basically kind of like use his brain to figure out what the Republic's next move was. So the storyline was the Confederacy was predicting all of the Republic strategies. Like, they were one step ahead all the time. Turns out they had.
Did you see the Confederacy?
What did you call it? Yeah, what are they called? Aren't they called the CIF or something?
The Separatists.
Separatists.
The Confederacy is like the other guys in the American Civil War.
No. Yeah, no, because I know that like the C in CIF stands for something. Anyway, let's edit that out. So anyway, if you guys going back, like, there's Echo. If you guys follow the Star Wars, or if you follow like the clones lore in all of the Clone Wars, so Echo was actually thought to be dead, but turns out in the final season was captured by separatists, and his brain was being used the whole time to kind of give the separatists the advantage against the Republic. And basically, it was a good storyline because why wouldn't they have like an edge over the Republic, and why wouldn't they do something like that? So I found it very interesting that Echo was still alive, and at the end of the whole arc with the Bad Batch, he ends up joining them as, I guess, okay, if Hunter is their leader / tracker, Tech is their tech guy, Wrecker is their heavy, Crosshair is a sniper. I would say
they're the Ninja Turtles. They're the Ninja
Turtles, basically. I feel like Echo would probably be I don't know.
It's their hard drive. Echo's their hard drive.
Their hard drive, yeah, basically. Because
Echo is just like the world's most valuable techno-organic hard drive.
For sure. He's basically a glorified hard drive at this point. But it's okay. I think there was an episode where actually they ended up working well together. So yeah, I'm actually curious, like, did it say if this series was going to be built around like after they got Echo and we were headed to Order 66, or was it before?
There are no details, at least to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because Star Wars fans love doing that.
They do.
But yeah, I have no details on the details of the show. I don't know if it's gonna be like before they got Echo, or like just during their own X4C type operations. But one or the other, I would be good with. Of course, we never got closure with their arc in Clone Wars mismo, so
yeah,
maybe they could have gone on a few more cool adventures with Echo, or maybe like gone into hiding with Echo during the Order 66 events. But like, man, I just want more Bad Batch. They were my favorite part about the Clone Wars season, man. And they were just like, we know you love these guys, but you know what we're gonna give you? This really, really annoying episode about Ahsoka meeting these random sisters.
It was as if Disney hired Vince McMahon to write the Clone Wars for them.
They hired Vince Russo. Spice on a fourth-place match.
I know.
Dude, that was Vince Russo as fuck. They're like, do we keep the spice, or do we deliver the spice? And they're just like, I have a great idea. I'm gonna dump the spice. What? That wasn't part of the choices. We didn't say dump the spice. We're all gonna die now. We're all gonna... This feels like conflict that could have been avoided. It's almost like we were totally been avoided. Move a story forward.
That's, it's funny you mentioned that, because that's one thing I actively flushed out of my brain when people would ask me about the last season of Clone Wars, was the Spice arc. God, that arc was dumb.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we could have had more Bad Batch, but no.
Through it. Yeah,
we had to have, I pick option C, let's dump the spice.
Because I want to keep my ship, and I feel like the way to keep my ship is the dump with the spice that's on it.
Yes.
Obviously, get rid of the ransom that we're gonna give to the people, so I could keep everything I own. But no,
should I pick the low risk choices, or should I make things more difficult for everybody on board on purpose?
Whoops.
those two were arguably the worst, and you can fight me on this. Those two were the worst things that happened in Star Wars.
I have a strange feeling they created those two characters just so that they'd have someone to hate more than Rose Tico. Not that I hate Rose Tico, but
I love Rose Tico.
There's so much hate towards Rose Tico. Let's create someone worse. And I hope the Star Wars fans aren't bullying the voice actresses out of the internet.
That's unnecessary.
Already done that twice.
That is unnecessary. Yeah, you don't have to do that, and you shouldn't.
We hate these characters, man, but they're just like, they're not in control of this shit.
Yeah. They're just voices, man. They're just.
But yeah, going back, I can't wait to see more.
Yes, I need more.
Yeah,
I need more.
You know, I need more. And speaking of needing more, you know what the internet needs more of? It needs more of Henry Cavill building things because they can't get enough of Henry Cavill building a PC.
So good.
Okay, the reason for those watching, the reason why we're discussing this, if you guys saw our last video, we talked about a certain unboxing that
That guy.
good God, that guy. We're not gonna mention who. We're only gonna mention Henry Cavill because he's actually, you know, he actually did well for himself. He actually did it properly. But no, this other guy, man, like if you compare how they handle product, it's just so different. And I'm not just talking about their looks, all right? We all know Superman is 100% gorgeous. But, oh my God, the way they handled the products.
I think he was doing
Bon,
that alone too, man.
Yes.
What?
He was doing that alone. There was no.
And he was doing that alone. He was doing that alone. And he was building it really well. Bon, I know you have a lot to say about this. I actually want to know. Like, go ahead, man. Like, feel free to just let it rip.
Hey, Rick.
All right. All right, the glasses are off again. I don't have much to say anymore about that guy who went Hulk Hogan on that box.
Mhm.
But
Captain America.
I have some tea about that guy again. So apparently, this guy was supposed to present a box of a certain brand that's a bit close to me, but he wasn't able to. You know why? Because he ripped it again! What the hell is wrong with you, man? What, like, why are you obsessed with ripping things?
It's like he's been possessed by a guy from JNT Express. Like,
yes. Dude, come on, stop ripping boxes.
It's like he woke up one day and was like, "Oh, the demon of JNT Express is in me now. Must rip every package inside."
It's like whenever he sees a box, his eyes go like, you know, the anime eyes, anime red eyes. Nani? I need to.
Yeah, that's basically what happens to him. Like every single time he opens something, it's like he just has this overwhelming need to rip it apart. Like it's not. I don't know.
I think he's
like a cardboard box attempted to kill his parents. That's the kind of vengeful spirit he develops once he sees any box. He's just like, I don't understand the purpose of packaging. I must fuck it up for everybody else. Like, why do you exist?
Just to remind everyone, by the way, like you are watching Culture Pit after the After Dark podcast. This is geek stuff. We don't give a fuck. All right, so yes, here you go.
We don't.
All right, go, bud.
Anyway, yeah, just dude, if ever you come across this podcast, look me in the eye. Stop ripping things apart, man. You just go like Hulk Hogan in boxes. Like, I'm gonna rip you apart, brother. Dude, stop it. Just
there goes your warranty.
Just stop it. Just like
it's worse than
Michael Jordan said. Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help. Basically, just get some help.
Get some help.
I don't know who needs more help, this guy or Darby Allin. I
both,
know.
Man, both.
No, because like, this guy's ripping up like boxes. He's putting harm to boxes. Darby's just putting harm to his career. And
he's the lesser of two evils. All right.
It's like Darby's like. You know how like the WWE is like, don't try this at home, and Darby's like, I understand. So he's like, I'm gonna do everything else dangerous at home. Recovering from the broken leg. Anyway, let's not continue on with the wrestling.
Check out Buckle Bomb Podcast episode 1.
Yes, to elaborate on that. Like we elaborate like hell on that. on the Buckle Bomb podcast. So like,
more Darby Allin this.
If you want to hear us and watch us rip Darby Allin a new one, and by rip him a new one, we mean a new ankle joint because he destroyed that. Yeah. And then fucking did skateboard tricks while he was
Hashtag don't skate on a ladder. Hashtag don't skate on a ladder.
Hashtag get some help.
Yeah.
Some help, guys. Come on.
I gotta say though, like, I wouldn't have been able to do what Henry did.
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean,
I don't think I could build my own PC. And of course he's like loaded, so he's got the money to not give a shit. But it's risky that he built it himself. Great that he was able to do it himself. But you can tell he gives a shit. And he constantly lets people know that he gives a shit about nerd stuff. Like, I'm super scared of having guests on this podcast. Like, definitely one day we should. Most of this fear comes from, I'm just scared of people, man. I'm a geek. I don't want to make new friends. The three of you, enough. But if there's one person that I would love to have on this podcast, just to talk about shit that he definitely knows about, it would be Henry. Because despite the fact that we'll never look like that, and we'll never have, well, maybe we won't have it, but we'll never be Hollywood guys. We'll never be Hollywood type guys. Maybe. But he gets us, man. Like, he's got the heart of a geek. A much healthier heart, but like the heart of a geek anyway. The fact that to this day he keeps on telling people how he could have not been Superman because of World of Warcraft, to this day is just like, what
oh my gosh, man. That was a great story.
What a fucking mood. And the fact that, like, you know that, like, Hollywood people would use their stardom and their, like, political pull in Hollywood to, like, you know, land them big money roles. All he did was use his Hollywood political power to make sure he got Geralt. Like, he so desperately wanted to play Geralt.
Hell of a Geralt, by the way. Hell of a Geralt.
No, like, hold on. I don't know if you all know this, but he was Geralt before there was a script. He was like, I understand that you're somewhere in the process of making Witcher, and I understand that people have to go through a casting process, but I will literally kill everyone in the studio. Give me the role of Geralt.
What? Really?
Oh, no, he didn't say that shit, but he just really, really wanted this role. Like, I can guarantee you that he probably took some kind of pay cut to have the role. He just really wants to be Geralt. I would argue that he probably would like to be Geralt more than he wants to be Superman. And
I have to do Superman so I can do Geralt, man.
Yeah. He needs the Superman money so that he can do Geralt cosplay for 6 months at a time. But, man, I just love the guy, man. There's just fucking nothing wrong with him. He's so great, and he acts like a nerd. Like, he hasn't even kind of forgotten about that part of himself. And he was interviewed by this guy that we're talking about, the other guy.
Yeah.
That's why there's more irony in this. Like, this guy rips a fucking box to shreds for no reason. And when he interviewed Geralt, he called him Gerald.
Oh
my gosh. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Did he really?
Gerald.
Dude,
so bad.
Dude, what's wrong with you?
He called him Gerald to Geralt's
My
face.
gosh.
If he met the real Geralt, he'd be dead.
Yeah, for sure.
I know this because these were people actually like accounting their memory of the event. And man, I wish I was there. I wish I could have been there to get Henry's autograph because like if you were there, if you were in the last fucking row, you would have gotten an autograph. He spent more hours signing autographs on his way to the stage than he did on that stage. He probably disobeyed his own security just to sign everyone's shit. This guy is one of my favorite people in Hollywood. He's like Keanu Reeves level of great.
Yeah. Man, he's breathtaking.
He's breathtaking. And he's still, to me, the best Superman. All of those people who hate the Zack Snyder stuff can suck my willy. But man, this guy does nothing wrong. And I want to see you build more things. I need to see Henry Cavill build, I don't know, the Philippine economy back up. I want to see I just want to see Henry Cavill build everything. Make Henry Cavill an architect. Make Henry Cavill a Fortnite character.
I can actually imagine it.
Man, Henry Cavill, the mustache on, like, he's the world's buffest Freddie Mercury. Just like, you know.
Henry Cavill, like, being a Fortnite character, like, all the other players are just stopping to, like, watch him.
Yeah, that's how you win the tournament, man. Once they see your Henry-ass Cavill building yourself, like, a structure in Fortnite, they're just gonna be like, I like what I see.
I'm not gonna shoot. All right, I'm not
gonna shoot.
I don't need this $3 million first. Look at the pretty man building the tower. Henry Cavill could world peace. Yeah, all he needs to do is build something, man.
He's a Superman, but like in another way, you know.
Yeah, he's
not the Kryptonian way.
Yeah. Henry's only weakness is getting called Gerald. Don't call me Gerald.
God. Good God.
But yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's the anti. I don't want to mention his name. We're not putting him over.
We're not putting him over.
We're gonna bury him as deep as we can. If the traditional grave is dug 6 feet deep, then we will dig the grave deeper.
We're gonna bury him deeper than Vince McMahon buried Rey Mysterio's WWE title run.
We will bury him harder than he buried EC3.
There you go. That
was pretty hard. He buried him pretty hard.
He's a ghost. Welcome to the After Dark podcast. Yeah, so basically that guy is a Henry Cavill. We love you. Other guy.
Sure you
doesn't exist. He's a ghost. Speaking of ghosts, you see where I'm going with this transitions that I have so far.
We're gonna talk about Call of Duty.
We are?
Ghost Week.
Like Call of Duty, that ghost is fun, but what's even more fun is the newest release on the PS4, Ghost of Tsushima. It's an amazing game. So, like, Seb and I picked it up. When did we pick it up? Like, about a week ago? Yeah, about a week now. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Ghost of Fukushima.
There you go.
Wrong island.
So, Ghost of Tsushima, it's wow. Like,
yep.
Okay, here's the thing. I rarely get to enjoy samurai-themed games nowadays. However, this just...
Is it Sekiro's fault?
What?
Is it Sekiro's fault that you can't enjoy samurai-themed games?
I mean...
If Sekiro won't help you.
Sekiro is fine. I don't really mind. But, you know, like, I think some people were like selling the game like in a wrong way to you, right? You mentioned.
All right. Here's the thing. Months before its release, maybe like a good 4 months ago, I was like, oh shit, what's this Ghost of Tsushima game? And this person, rest in peace, was telling me.
Cancelled. No,
telling me that this would be a Souls type game with
Sanbanda. Sanbanda.
I think it's because he saw a really long. Because like I do see the aspects of it that would be Soulsy, because it's like you have really long health bars coming from the bosses. That's about it. That's about it.
Basically, I mean, people would argue. I guess people would argue that it's Soulsy because of like the slash and dodge methodology of it. But then again, you kinda also do that with games like, I don't know, Witcher. Mm-hmm. Hell, you do that with games like, you do it with other games.
You do it.
Yeah, you could do it. No, like, okay, you could do it with Arkham Knight. I'm gonna say you could do that with Arkham Knight. Like, you got a bunch of enemies there coming at you. You could just dodge and hit and dodge and hit. This is Arkham Knight, but in Japan. That's basically like.
Actually, I mean,
maybe.
I really wouldn't. What this feels like to me is Ubisoft giving shit. Like,
yes,
I see a lot of Ubisoft in this, especially with the climbing mechanics. Mm-hmm. I see a bit of Arkham Knight. I see a bit of what Sekiro's, like, what people said about Sekiro being like, it's very parry-centric and all of those things. It is. It's very parry-centric. In fact, getting through most of these boss fights, to add, these are probably my favorite boss fights from all of the games that I played in this console generation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I had so much fun with these boss fights.
Oh wow!
I have never ever looked forward to a boss fight ever in my life.
It doesn't feel like gameplay. It doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like a scene from a movie. Yeah. The bosses don't last forever, or at least so far they haven't lasted forever. And in fact, it takes like about 6 to 10 hits to kill them.
Depends.
No, that's so far my experience. It's really about getting enough hits in rather than like hitting this guy a certain X amount of times. This is not the Valkyries in God of War. These aren't.
Oh yeah.
These aren't Dark Souls bosses. Everyone in this game seems to have a similar life bar. Mm-hmm. It's not hard to kill anyone in this game if you have enough skill. It's not hard to take anything out of this game if you have enough skill. The skill tree exists, but what's really immersive about this game is that it doesn't feel dependent on that skill tree to be able to advance in the game. That's organic as hell. The armor is aesthetically awesome. The stat boosts you get from the armors are great. I kind of have my own style of playing it. And a lot of people, especially my friends who have yet to pick up the game, have been like, I want to play it 2 times. Once in the style of the Ghost and once in the style of the Samurai. And to those people, I say, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I genuinely feel like you can't play one style all the time and have it work.
Yeah, true. It's not like that. Like, there have been so many times that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, just as a player of the game as well, there have been so many times where I had to switch it up. From how I would normally play a game like this. Like, I've had to switch it up so many times just to find out, like, because it really depends on the scenario that you're faced with. And to your point, Seb, the skill tree exists, yes. But really what it does is it adds moves, but it's not, you're, the ease of, or the difficulty of fighting enemies or of getting around the game is not dependent at all on that skill tree, it's really up to your skill. Not like in most games where the moment you max out the skill tree, it's practically impossible to kill you. It's not like that with this game.
Mm-hmm.
My skill tree is, I would say, right now, I'm about a third of the way, maybe almost half of the way up there, almost half of the way maxed out. But there's still times that I could have died, just because I wasn't surveying the scenario really well. Like when I noticed that whenever I would get dependent on the skill and not, or sorry, when I would get dependent on like the abilities and not my skill as a player, that's when things kind of go downhill. Is when you rely too much on that game, that usual game element where, all right, well, I have a ton of skills now. I have a lot of skills now. I should be able to do fine. No, this game just like what's said earlier. Like the good thing about this game is there's a sort of realism to it. There's a sort of realism where if you like everyone has pretty much the same life amount, and if you are not alert, if you are not thinking well, you're not gonna make it very far. So that's basically where I think the uniqueness of this game comes in compared to a lot of games out there. It's got free roam, it's got hack and slash, it's got strategy, it's got stealth, it's got a lot of things. And to top it all off, it's in ancient Japanese times, which is game wise or any lore wise, it's one of my favorites. So yeah, that's for me. That's why I would really recommend this game to anyone. It's really that good.
Yeah. To add to that, it does play like a AAA. It will play like a lot of AAA games, and a lot of people will judge it negatively for that. There are other aspects of Ghost of Tsushima that you could say deserves criticism.
Oh yeah.
Combat is not one of them. And to add, you could be like halfway through the game and still get killed by a random enemy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just a little dumb. You will never have too much life in your life bar that you won't get killed by a rando if you're just being stupid. You can't button mash.
Yeah.
It's not that type of game. You have to treat this like actual combat. And not all of us here have been trained in any actual form of combat. You, Bao, and I have. I think Gab has a little bit, right? A little bit of Taekwondo. Yeah. Bon, you have any?
I know how to run, so that counts.
Bon knows how to cut a promo.
And run.
Yeah, and run.
And run. He can cut a promo while running.
Yes. Why are you talking shit, mate?
I can beat you.
This game plays like a AAA. It has most of the mechanics of your average AAA. So if you've played a AAA and you expect a certain few things, it's probably going to be there. But with every successful AAA title, there comes one thing. Always just one thing that they add, usually, to gameplay that makes it innovative. And this is stances. The one thing that this game will have that I think games will adapt later on is this stance system, this like different style of fighting thing. Because that's an innovative as fuck mechanic and one that I would never have thought would be applied in a game. But if you would have to introduce it, now would be the best time to do so. Because like, we're samurai. We learn different styles of fighting and shit. I hope they do this for a Star Wars game.
Actually, to add to that, they did do that for a Star Wars game. For the Jedi Knight and the Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy games, they actually did that. However, the stances don't really affect much. You could stick with one stance for the whole game and spam it. It's up to you. So the Star Wars Jedi Outcast, for example, it has the I don't know also what the saber forms they used there were, but they had the quick one, which is basically just rapid, fast slashes, but like weak damage, so you could just keep on spamming that. They have the regular one, which is wide strokes, but like normal damage attacks lang. And then they have the strong one, which is super heavy, but like really slow. So it doesn't really matter who you're fighting, whether you're fighting like a force user or or troopers or whatever. You could use like literally just one stance and use that for the rest of the game. Unlike here, sorry, yeah, to your point where
that, Star Wars is going for style over substance once again.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, that was. I mean, like that's always gonna be one of my favorite Star Wars games is Jedi Outcast. However, yeah, it just the stances just felt really unnecessary. Like if you were just gonna do that, you might as well just stick with. Well, I mean, the change was nice, but at the same time, it doesn't add that thrill that Ghost of Tsushima has, where okay, you see multiple enemies coming in your direction, and literally this is what happens at the game. You see like 2 heavies, 3 shields, might be like 3 spears and like 4 swords. So you have to really vary how you're going to, and archers on top of that. So you really have to vary what styles you're using. For me, yeah, I would really, especially with Star Wars, where there's a lot of like in lore, there's a lot of sword forms, there's a lot of lightsaber forms. I really want them to do something like that.
Yeah,
like if you were building up a character, you could go down like the skill tree and go, okay, I'm choosing between out of the 7 lightsaber forms, I'm gonna specialize in like what 1 or 2, maybe 3 at most, and like build it from there. That's something interesting. That's something that that is new in my opinion. Like if I know that they're not done with the Jedi Fallen Order arc, but like if people from EA can hear this, like
EA
Sports.
EA baka naman.
To the game.
To the games. So like yeah, you could do that. Like to your point, that's a very interesting point.
Yeah, because like let's say Cal Kestis is like, oh, I've learned a few more of the lightsaber forms. So he starts using it in battle. This is how I imagine every Jedi has conversations. So, I've learned more than one of the lightsaber forms. I don't just...
The only reason the council is appointed your...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But because it's a different time where it's not, you don't have the Jedi Academy to have you like Forte one style. He's gonna start using every single one that he can attain. Maybe have it like, maybe have him learn it at different portions of the game, so that like you can, acquire the stances the way you do in Ghost of Tsushima. And have him use it against the many enemy types and shit. Because, like, man, Star Wars already has established different lightsaber forms. Just use them, man. Like, let us have fun. Let us deep dive into this type of lore. And it's just, like, free shit for you guys. It's just free things for the nerds to dive into.
Yeah. And to your point, like, just to like kind of stray away from Ghost of Tsushima for a bit. It is actually weird that like Star Wars for the longest time, and not just like with the universe, not just like with the cinematic universe that it has now, but even from before, when it would like create these lightsaber forms. It's just weird how long these have been around and people aren't familiar with it, especially so-called Star Wars fans. Some of them are not familiar with the that there are actually 7 lightsaber forms. Basic ones at least. So like that's something that you could actually incorporate into the games. Like that's interesting. And that's a good thing to have. It's just in my opinion. And yeah, I guess for me, if I may, something I really like with Ghost of Tsushima is it has that how should I say it just really, it kind of goes into this deep dive of how samurai really fight, not just with the combat, but also with how they approach a certain situation. Are you going to be that samurai type where you just call everyone out and go face me, fight me, or are you, and you will get to do this later in the game, are you gonna go for the stealthy but arguably less honorable type of fighting where you stab someone in the back because it's more strategic. You know, if you've been playing things like, let's say, again, going back to Arkham Knight, you have Predator mode and you have Combat mode. Combat mode where you just really hammer on enemies and just keep fighting and whatever. You have Predator mode where you survey the surroundings and try to pick them off one by one. So the good thing about Ghost of Tsushima is it has that. However, they put a little bit of lore behind it. Samurai don't like the sneaky fighting the way maybe ninjas would do it or like thieves would do it. They like the upfront fighting. Yet here you are, vastly outnumbered with nothing to rely on but your skill and a few people. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go for the samurai way of doing things, or are you gonna go for the strategic but arguably less honorable way of doing things? So that's something that really elevated the experience of the game for me.
I actually did research on the actual Mongol invasion of Tsushima. And there's something really timely about the ghost appearing in this particular point of history. Because in real life, they lost this fight. Like, quite decisively lost this fight.
Yeah.
And it was mostly down to their strategies. The Mongols fight how the Mongols are known to fight. And the samurai were not used to that. They weren't used to these strategies, whatever form they may have taken. The Mongols might have been presented a little bit more villain-like here, like a little bit more, well, shit on your stuff actively is what they're doing in the game. I don't know if they were like that in real life, but whatever their strategies were, they were too much for the current samurai's way of thinking of how battle works. And it was around the 15th century, which is where this game is taking place, that the samurai had to adapt new tactics in order to win against the Mongols. Eventually they did. They did drive them off, but it required them to modernize how they militarize people and who can constitute as defenders of Japan. And here they're kind of making it appear that, there was one guy who was willing to do whatever it took.
Roman Reigns.
What? No.
Roman Reigns.
One versus all.
He's Eddie Guerrero, man. He's just like, I have this thing I want to do and I gotta get there. We haven't gotten through the game yet, so I can't tell you how this ends. I can't give you an idea of where it's headed, but the game gives you this weird sense of choice that you don't get in other games. Usually in games, it's a choice of dialogue. You get to say this or you get to say this. In this game, it's physical, which I love. In this game, it's about how are you going to fight? If you fight a certain way, you get a certain number of kills and you get a flashback from your uncle.
Yep.
This is not how we fight. We are samurai and shit.
Yeah. I got that.
Yeah, I've gotten that twice at this point. But it really tells you that, all right, one thing that people would shit on is that cultural appropriation. These guys are speaking English. But they give a lot of respect to Japanese culture here. And the Japanese have acknowledged that. They've given this game their blessing. Because at the end of the day, to be real, not everyone has the ability to keep up with subtitles. Whether or not they'd like to. This game is accessible for people who want to learn about Japanese culture, who want to learn about samurai culture. And it doesn't feel like they're Americanizing it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you were a person from the States playing this game, this would be not an accurate, but a good like entry level experience into foreign culture, and just how committed the Japanese are to their honor, because that's how it's always been, and that's how rigid they are with things like honor. Like life matters a lot less to them than honor, and that's an interesting thing in this game. And just for those who've always wanted to play samurai, this is a samurai simulator. That's what it is. I could also argue that it's also a ninja simulator, but I don't think the stealth is good enough to be a ninja simulator.
No, it's not.
You have Tenchu for that.
Yeah, you have Tenchu for that.
It's a great game with great characters, and it's bleak. Like, just when you think it's gonna let up, it just pulls you in with the reality that this is not gonna go about the way you'd like. It's probably not gonna have a happily ever after type of ending. Like war. That in war situations, in desperate situations, people do bad things. And we have encountered that so far in the game. So it's not a happy game. He's not a Boy Scout. He's faced with the realities of a bad situation that he needs to adapt to. And he adapts to it in a way that he's not completely comfortable with, that he's forced to. And even being known as the ghost is something he doesn't like. He's hesitant towards it, but he knows that people need that. That people need the ghost more than you'd like to be the ghost.
Yep.
So in terms of a character to like latch onto, I love this guy. He's right around my wheelhouse. I love guys who are like, I have moral principles. Then by the end of the game are like, fuck that, I'm a completely new person. New war, new me. That's what Jin Sakai is. And
whatever it takes, dude, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
It's a good showing that like for the world to move forward, it often takes a lot of being uncomfortable with yourself. That's something I really relate to. That in order for anything to move forward, in order for culture to move forward, in order for you to advance as a person, you might have to do things that you're uncomfortable with, things that you don't want to do, things that you're scared to do. And we get to see that with Jin Sakai, the character. But we've said quite a few things good about the game, man. I think we should get started on the things we don't like. Have any, Bao?
Well, the game itself, it's beautiful, but it's not without bugs. But then again, what game, what game isn't? So it's got a few of those, minor bugs where things just pop out of nowhere and
clipping.
Yeah, just a couple of things. And the photo mode, while it's amazing, it's not when you zoom in too much, it's not flawless. So it's got a few chinks in its overall like aesthetically perfect armor, but it's not. I mean, that's not something that should hinder you. Also, one thing is, okay, I set my audio for the game to Japanese, so I'm reading the subtitles as I am hearing Japanese audio, and you will notice that the lips are still fine-tuned to English, like they're not doing the Japanese dub at all. So that's something. I mean, all right. I mean, I get it though.
It's
what? Sorry.
The worst part of the game.
Sorry.
I feel like that to me is objectively the worst part about Tsushima. Yeah. Like that's everything else can somewhat be forgiven, right?
Everything can be forgiven. Like it's I mean, I know how hard people have worked on this, and I'm not gonna shit on them for that. It's a very well made game overall. I do encourage buying it. I highly recommend it. and I definitely praise it for all that it is. So, yeah, for me, if I was to give it, that's basically all the negative stuff for me. So if I was to give it like a rating overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Just maybe even a 9.5 out of 10. It's good. It's really good.
All right. So if I'm gonna talk about the negative shit, there is a few things. Worst part for me, the first offender, and this will annoy me forever, unless they decide to patch it in. I really don't like that the lips aren't synced to Japanese.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that was doable. If you couldn't fix all the other shit that I'm about to talk about, you should have done that. Because he gave us the option to play the game in Japanese. Sync their lips to Japanese.
Yeah.
If you're not going to sync their lips to Japanese, don't give us that option because it's just going to annoy us. It's just going to annoy the people it's going to annoy the weebs. Do you have any idea what weebs do when they're annoyed?
Type in the keyboard real fast
They'll
while
make
breathing.
porn about it. They'll make really terrible porn about ghosts. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do.
Again, this is after dark. We don't give a fuck.
They're gonna fuck. They're gonna fuck, and the audio is gonna be in Japanese, but you could clearly see them speaking English. But there's like Japanese coming out of their mouths. But yeah, the other thing is, and this is another thing I'll say about this. It's very Star Warsy in the sense that it's a really good game with a really good story with dog shit editing. Dog shit transitions. Dude, it's always like this is probably the worst game in terms of transitions that was like super popular in this console generation because it's literally like gameplay, arrive, fade to black, cutscene, fade back to black, and you're back in the game.
I think that's the Kurosawa thing.
It just doesn't feel seamless, bro. Like we're in this generation of games, but that's always how it happens. It feels like something that would have been forgivable in like previous console generations, but like just give us good transitions into the talking scenes, man. Because it actively feels like you were just cutting and pasting. Like, all right, it's the game part. Let's cut in the cutscene part, and then let's take him out of the cutscene. Because it feels like you're not experiencing it. You're kind of just watching a movie. And then, like,
you should have made
breaks.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a different world from the cutscenes at this point. You know?
Yeah.
But other than that, I can forgive it. I could even say that, sure, let's say they're just Kurosawa-ing with the fade to blacks and all of that.
Yeah.
My problem is it's always the same no matter what you're doing. It's always the same kind of fade to black and fade back to game. And it's corny. I don't like it. I don't want... As much as Star Wars is known for it, I hate seeing wipes in Star Wars, you know.
Yeah.
All the time. Star Wars is just a really elaborate PowerPoint presentation. And
it is.
we're slightly feeling that with this. Like I don't want to see transitions in a multi-million-dollar funded game that I could do in PowerPoint presentations, you know? That's but other than that I really like it. Like I don't really like boss fights, man. I really usually don't like boss fights, but these boss fights felt great. Combat in this game is second to none. I don't think there's a lot of games that could match how good the combat in this game is. Stealth could have been done better, but it isn't bad. Some reviewers have said it's bad. The story so far has been great. I can't currently give it a rating. But if I were to, I would probably give it an 8 just because of that editing. Just because of those transitions. But
that's
I really have such few complaints about it. And as Jin Sakai, the character, man, I'm going to love this guy forever. I want to just see more games.
And I hope they make a hot toy. I hope they make a hot toy.
I mean, Figma's already making it, so like it's small hot toy. I'm waiting on those Funko Pops. I ordered both Jin Sakai Funko Pops, but like
nice.
if you just want a game with a good story, a nice edgy character, a nice amount of bleakness with a good amount of that cathartic "I'm saving my land" type shit, then you will get that with Ghost of Tsushima, and you'll be really, really fucking satisfied. Those stances will never get old.
Ever. Yeah.
They really won't. Fun. You will replay this game just so you could like fight all over again. And the other downside is no new game plus.
Oh yeah.
Game plus.
So you have to you have to make a new save.
That sucks. That is shit. That's another reason why it's not a 9. Because you can't do it with all the upgrades. Because you're gonna grind like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grind like a motherfucker. Then you want to try this game out where you're OP. And you can't do that. Yeah. This game's supposed to slightly feel like a power fantasy, even though you can die via 2 or 3 hits. You don't want to feel like you're a badass and you want to have...
I mean, to be fair, Jedi Fallen Order did not have New Game Plus at first, I think, and then they started adding that. So maybe, I mean, it's too early to tell. Maybe in the new patch. We'll never know.
I hope so, dude. And I hope it doesn't take me in the middle of my second playthrough for the New Game Plus.
For New Game Plus to come out.
Just like, do you have any idea how much bamboo I gathered?
It'd be fun if they added like a survival mode to it. Like I'd be down for a survival mode. Like
what's a survival mode exactly?
It's like it's like when you're just fighting. There's no stealth, whatever. They just put you like in an arena or in a map, and then like enemies by waves and by hordes just like come at you. Yeah. The more you, I'd be down for like a survival mode, or even a stealth mode, whatever. They have that with other games.
I wish the stealth was slightly more improved, but other than that, dude, assassinations are great. I love assassinations, especially when your teeny weeny sword is fully upgraded. That shit's great. But yeah, man. So far it's a solid 8.
So good. Yeah, not much complaints except for those we just said. That's our review of Ghost of Tsushima.
So we'll give you guys like a full-on review once one of us is done.
Oh yeah, yes. For sure.
We haven't given reviews in a while, so like we'll give you guys one of Ghost of Tsushima.
Watch out for that on our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of this episode of the After Dark podcast. What else would you like to hear us talk about? So just let us know if you agree with everything that we just said. If you have your own opinions, just let us know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to visit us on our pages. We have Facebook and Instagram at Real Culture Pit. We have our YouTube channel, of course, here. And we'll be putting the link of Buckle Bomb episode 1 on the description, as well as After Dark episode 4, just so you guys are caught up with everything we've been doing. And so thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight or today or whatever time it is you're watching. So these are your boys from Culture Pit. We have Seb, Pao, Gab, and Bon, and Sami Zayn is here as well.
We miss you, man. Please come back.
Please come back. We miss you dearly. And so we will see you guys again on episode 2 of the Buckle Bomb podcast coming soon, and of course episode 6 of the After Dark podcast. And until then, please stay home, stay safe, stay tuned, and of course, stay cultured. We are out.